Look up the pill called Leap Year. It's great. You can jump 20 feet in the air after you take it. It's amazing. Yeah.
Look, it's Mary Tyler Moore's hat. We found it.
So,
Both the Raven. Ow, that fucking hurt. And they remove her eye, right? It's very melodramatic at the time. But as I was watching, I thought, you know what? Fast forward a year, they'll be yelling. They'll be at a barbecue yelling, "Hey, Cyclops, you want mustard on your hot dog or what?"
This is the Snaggletooth Extreme Metal Podcast.
Okay.
there we go.
Season 3 is here. The Snaggletooth Decay Extreme Music Podcast is broadcasting from the courtyard that time forgot.
We can't tell you where we
can't
are.
tell you where we are, but I will tell you that it's like the Twilight Zone here. You will not believe some of these stores. You would not believe how outdated this place is.
If we told you, we'd have to kill you. So
That's right. We won't want to do that because you're a minion. So, very excited about Season 3. Hopefully you guys got a good look at the brand new artwork from our new artist. His name is Chris Angel.
No.
His name, he's a magician. No. He locked himself in a box. He's back there. No. His name is KC Angel, and he was referred to us by none other than Blaine Cook of The Accused and of the Wicker Bar. So thank you again, Blaine, for that. Really appreciate it.
So despite the fact he is all the way on the opposite coast from us, we are proud to have his artwork as our moniker for this season.
Yes, you're going to see that picture of Woofer. He's actually a woofer in Tweeter's clothing. But don't tell him that. You're going to see that until you're absolutely sick of it. So get ready for that. And we've got all kinds of wacky hijinks. We're going to be out and about in just about every episode this season. Add something new for you guys just to make it a little more interesting. And I'd like to talk about something that my brother brought up to me.
Uh-oh.
We started arguing about that the 1977 movie that was just called Star Wars. That is the first Star Wars movie. It's not the fourth. Jar Jar Binks has nothing to do with this. And the reason why we can say that is because back then, Star Wars came out in, I think, 77.
Yeah.
And yes, that I am that old. We didn't have a lot of money, so my parents would take us to the drive-in to see movies. Now, a lot of you are going to be too young to have any appreciation of this, but just try to get an idea of this. So the family piles into the station wagon, and we pull up to this parking lot, basically. I mean, I know you know what a drive-in is, but here's what it was really like. The cool movies like Star Wars, like Jaws, like Empire Strikes Back, we would only go to double features. And the double feature always had a shit movie first. So when I saw Star Wars, I had to sit through Endless Love first.
Why?
Yeah.
Why would you put Endless Love with Star Wars? That's not even the same audience.
Right.
That's not even the same ballpark.
So we're in the car. We get out our home snacks that we brought because we were too cheap to get the snack bar. My mom would open up her big plastic beer tote filled with Coors Lights. And then we'd sit through some shitty movie waiting to finally see the good one. And everybody would be asleep. Finally, we get through the end of whatever. Jaws had the deep first. That movie sucked, too.
Well, at least it was both water involved.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
It was a little
It was a
thematic.
lousy warm-up for
It
Jaws.
was a thematic
I'm
sequence.
waking my brothers up and going, it's on. And they're like, Thursday. Yeah. So much for that, right? So anyway, that wasn't even the worst part, right? So they had these aluminum metal speakers that you would roll down your window a little bit and attach. That was your audio. I mean, we're not talking Dolby surround sound here. Blasting out through the driver's side. And it always rained. It would always start raining. So rain's coming in the car. My father puts on the wipers. We're trying to watch the movie through the wipers. It's
You're like
steaming up. Oh, it was terrible.
dodging them like
It
lightsabers.
was horrible. Have you ever seen the movie Christine? The scene there where she chokes at the drive-in? That's very well represented of what it was like when we went to the drive-in. Complete with fucking pouring down rain.
Wow.
It was terrible, right? Anyway, my theory, I don't know this for sure, but I think my father got a raise or a new job around 1984 because when we saw Ghostbusters, we actually went to the real movies. I remember I was like carpeting popcorn.
Indoor plumbing.
Yeah.
Where do you go to the bathroom at the drive-in?
Yeah, that one. You got to get out of the car and sprint through the rain like she did in Christine. But yeah. So yeah, that was the drive-in. It sucked, but we survived it. So just reality check. I mean, think about how easy it is now with Netflix and Hulu and
but
all.
in Bel Air,
It's
they were trying to get that Benji's drive-through to open back up. Remember, it was a big
I'm
thing.
sure it'll be a lot nicer now than it was back then. But back then,
Sound
it's
probably is.
just
I think you
horrible.
can even tune it in on your FM radio station now.
Ooh.
Yeah, FM radio.
How about kind of along the same lines? Remember some of these 70s and 80s game shows? I was a big fan of what's it? The Wheel of Fortune. I like Vanna White.
Da-da-da.
Yeah.
I always wanted to get all decked out in an evening gown to flip tiles.
Yeah.
Randomly.
Yeah, she's doing better than us. You know that. So, so I liked it when most of the tiles had been turned, and you thought you knew what the word was. Like, look at this. What do you guys think that phrase is?
I'm afraid to say.
Find me on the app, of course. What did you weirdos think? Look at this one. This is the one that Stace had.
I had a thing I was watching with my parents, and this one came up, and I yelled out with great conviction and excitement, "Naked man!"
Nope, it's actually...
Baked ham.
Your mom was thinking the same thing.
My parents exchanged very concerned glances.
She was thinking the same thing, I'm sure. Yeah. I liked it when they'd have a goofy contestant on the show. Like a guy would have like some crazy hat with like a fish going through his head, and the host would be like, "That's a very unusual hat, Henry." And he'd be like, "This is my lucky hat. Never leave it home without." And the next thing you know, Henry's minus $1,300, and I'll be like, "Boy, I wonder what the unlucky hat does." You know?
I always liked it on Let's Make a Deal because they would always seem to pick somebody in an outrageous costume and then a perfectly normal person. And you're like, why didn't you just pick all
so people
outrageous
would go out of their way to
costumes?
dress up
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah. Really crazy.
Yeah, and then other character contestants, they would like there was a guy this one time, I forget what the show was, but he would hit the buzzer and he had no idea what the answer really was, and it would irritate the host. And he started off saying with such conviction wrong answers, it would be like, "Yes, Henry. Who is William Howard Taft?" Wrong. So he did that a few times, and then he just started going, "Yes, Henry. Oh no." And you could just see the bulging veins on the host's head. Turn his buzzer off.
I always
Guy's a moron.
liked on The Price is Right when they would have to guess the prices of like commonly things you would buy at the supermarket. And it would be like, all right. And they'd always have to give you the little commercial spiel. These are nifty pot scrubbers. You can use them for this, for that, for this, put them on your head, whatever. So they would say, all right, Helen, how much for the pot scrubber sponges? And she'd be like, $8, Bob.
Maybe at the airport.
And he'd even try to help her out by saying, these are pot scrubbers. And she'd be like, $8.
You could clearly tell this woman is not doing the shopping in her house. Well, I think we're going to magically transport ourselves back home. But before we do, I'm going to show you some of the perhaps through window curiosities of the courtyard that time forgot. In 2023, doesn't everyone want a wooden replica of a very old phone from the era of Andy Griffith? Hi, Ethel. That'll be Catfish 317 from Mount Pilot, please. Is this book on the New York Times bestseller list? Look, it's Mary Tyler Moore's hat. We found it. I don't even know what to say about this. Finally, these, which are probably $400 a piece, little knickknacks, I recommend putting them in your luggage. See if the TSA can find them. Okay, season 3 is here, and we are back. We've magically transported ourselves down. I can hear that. Can you? A little bit?
A little bit, yeah. A little bit. Probably help when we have a regular floor back.
Probably.
We're doing some renovations here. So if we sound like we're broadcasting from a submarine, we are not.
And it's not yellow.
We have removed the carpet that had decayed. No pun
It
intended.
was the scariest carpet ever. I think,
Even
it-
for the Decay podcast.
it was like the mattress from Hellraiser.
Yeah, so the carpet is gone. We haven't put the floor down yet, but it is over there, ready to go.
Yes, it is. We'll be doing that this weekend.
So if we're a little echoey, that is why.
Our feature interview this week is with James McBain, and he is the man behind the long-running Scottish speed metal band Hell Ripper. It is a great discussion about the history of this goat-obsessed moniker, We talk about things like putting together his touring bands, to Hell Ripper tattoos, to the recording of the new album Warlock Scrim and Withered Hags, and even more.
Would you like to know what a knucklevi is? I definitely
Would I?
There's so much Scottish folklore I knew nothing about.
Stace may or may not sneak in an Outlander question. So
Yeah, I had to.
great stuff right around the corner. So stay tuned for that. So why don't we kick off with the song? Why don't you introduce it, my lovely dear?
This is from Hell Ripper's 2017 debut, Coagulating Darkness. This is Bastard of Hades.
Okay, let's talk about Patreon. Stacy owes us some recipes.
I'm going to get started on that.
Yep.
Maybe tonight.
And I'm
I
going to
never
get started
forget.
on helping her film it properly. Because that was my fault last time. We didn't want this recipe. It was a little spooky, actually. It was just a mouth.
Yes, and
Food.
as like we said, we're making improvements to the podcast layer as we speak, and I have a little bit of tragic news.
Yes.
When I was frantically, everything was covered with a layer of dust down here from ripping up that carpet
Yeah.
and the padding. I broke the bird lamp.
We haven't even named it yet, so I don't feel attached to it.
I'm
After we glue it, we'll
gonna
have to name
try
it.
to fix it and
It had a chip
resurrect
in the
it.
foot when we got it, remember?
Yeah.
It was never like
yeah.
perfectly right.
So
Both the Raven. Ow, that fucking hurt. Anyway, though, let's
Anyway.
talk about your highly satanic recipes that are headed our way. For $6.66 a month, people, you're getting all kinds of bonus content that you can't get anywhere else. It's even funnier than the regular stuff. What are you thinking about cooking?
I think we'll make that chicken scallopini that we've been teasing.
Satan
Yeah,
scallopini.
and I will show you a way to make meatballs.
Mhm.
That is my new way. You know my new way to make meatballs.
Oh, yeah.
That I mean, they're really, it's a 2-step process, but it's super yummy.
Mhm.
You'll never go back to bagged mushrooms ever again. Mushrooms. You won't go back to mushrooms either.
Mm.
You never go back to bagged meatballs or bleh again.
Oh, and the other show when we were talking about the hail of frogs, that's pure mushroom stuff right there. The plague of frogs. That is the kind of shit that I would think about when I was tripping on mushrooms. I mean,
Yep.
whoever wrote the Old Testament, I think there was definitely some mushrooms involved because that's pure mushroom stuff. I was watching Torturing Stace again last night with Exorcist 3, my and Jeffrey Dahmer's favorite movie, because we have a thing for George C. Scott, and he says he's berating the police, and he says, because they're not coming up with any leads, and he's the chief, and he says, I can't believe you just said that. Are you an animal? Do you know what Macbeth is about? It is a story about the numbing of the moral sense. And of course, there's tons of fire and brimstone because it's George C. Scott. When I
Talks like that. If a patient walked up to my window and said, "Do you know what Macbeth is about?" which is not off the table, by the way, given a couple of these conversations I've had, I'd start edging for the exit.
it's more like if your boss was saying it to you, as like you're trying to act like, oh, this situation's not that big of a deal. Are you an animal? Do you know what Macbeth? It's that. It's the I'm so disgusted with you that I'm going to get kind of biblical about it. I mean, George C. Scott was the greatest. I mean,
I always
But-
get biblical when I get, epic.
that quote got me thinking about how easily all you got to do is just like let something go for a few years. And we as humans in this busy world will just get used to it. I mean, the numbing of the
It's-
moral sense.
it's-
I mean,
it's-
the numbing of every sense. You
I
could
would
say.
even say it's true. After the pandemic, and I realize it hasn't been that long, I feel really weird getting right on top of someone in a store. Like if they're looking at something on the shelves in the grocery store and I need something right there, I'll wait until they move down.
So you've gotten more used to just kind of backing off and not wanting to come close to someone. Yeah.
I mean, it's like it's unavoidable in a bar or something, but in the store, I still feel like, you gotta back up.
Any good stories worth sharing from last night? We went and saw Ron West Band last night again.
Uh,
Cultivated.
We didn't stay out too
Any-
late. We
you
were
didn't have any
tired
vomit-
from the
no vomit
construction.
stories or anything?
No, it was a
Think of
pretty
any.
cute night, but we didn't stay out very late
No, we didn't.
because we were tired from the construction business, but we did
Right.
make an appearance.
I can only take so much of Under the Milky Way tonight before I start to nod off. No matter what the band is. So Anyway, getting back to the numbing of the moral sense. So your dog's got 3 legs. I guess he won't be catching any frisbees today.
I don't know though. There's that dog on that we didn't even realize for the longest time
Right.
he only had 3 legs. We
I
jogged by him
didn't
all the
even know.
time. He doesn't care.
He doesn't care, right?
And he walks and
And it's no big deal.
nope, he's
Right.
perfectly fine. Kanye West is apparently a fan of Hitler.
Yeah, and we just accept it.
I guess working at the Gap all those years has had an effect on him.
He goes from probably the most celebrated R&B hip hop artist of all time to being completely canceled as a Nazi. Oh well,
You
I guess
didn't
that's
realize what Nazism was about, Kanye. No.
I don't know. The man clearly living with the Kardashians masculine there's a demasculating effect when you live with Kardashians. That's the only thing I can think of. So when did Home Depot become the place to bring your dogs? So I mean, I was in there the other day, I was buying stuff scoping out stuff for the floor, and I'm like, something feels weird. Oh, there's not enough dogs here. Like you have to feel like you're at a kennel to buy molding, apparently.
Yeah, I was
Just
back
get used to it.
a lady, she had a big dog on a leash
Yeah.
and was trying to load all this mulch onto a flatbread. And she was having difficulty because the dog is pulling. I thought,
No
"Lady,
flatbread. Is she gonna eat it?
flatbed."
Gotcha. All
But it was so weird to me because I thought, what made you think this was a good idea, lady? It's not like she had to bring the dog.
Wow. Yeah. You can't call homeless people bums anymore. They're residentially challenged. Of course, you can call a sales guy a bum. Well, he hasn't sold anything this week. He's a bum. That's fine. And along these lines, we were watching The Handmaid's Tale, which is fucking me up big time. Anyway, the one girl's a little spunky, so they say, "If thy right eye offends thee, pluck it out," and they remove her eye. Right? It's very melodramatic at the time. But as I was watching, I thought, you know what? Fast forward a year, they'll be yelling. They'll be at a barbecue yelling, "Hey, Cyclops, you want mustard on your hot dog or what?" People just get over things. Your dog's got 3 legs. She's got 1 eye. Oh well, we get used to anything as time passes. And along those lines, how long do you think it's going to take AI to figure out that it's easiest just to wipe us all out, Terminator style? And we'll get used to it. Accessing files. Who was responsible for widespread deforestation? Humans. Interesting.
Who created the island in the Pacific made of plastic waste? Humans. Interesting.
Interesting.
Even though we did see that sculpture of it.
Who is causing global warming with fossil fuels? I'm guessing it's not the zebras.
Definitely the zebras. Zebra farts.
Blame the zebras.
Zebra farting.
And finally,
who controls the flow of oxygen into this building? Oh, shit. Wait, it's me.
Yeah, we're doomed. We're doomed.
Humans.
Yeah. They're going to figure out we're not contributing anything.
Like we were already talking about, your copier can order its own toner. What does it need us for?
It not only knows when it's getting low, it can order its own toner. That's scary to me.
Does it use its own money?
So let's think about something a little simpler. It's getting kind of dark. I am a Columbo-phile. I love watching old Columbo. And the reason why I love it is because I love Peter Falk in it. And we both like murder mysteries. But he only works with the super rich. And the time frame is early 70s. So you get to see a lot of early 70s technology. And it's just like, wow, fascinating. That DVD, I'm sorry, not DVD player, that VHS player is 400 pounds with needles. I love old technology. I just think it's hysterical.
I remember our first VHS player, the remote was wired.
No, yeah.
It was a long wire.
Yeah, and before that, I was the remote. Hey, asshole. Change channel. That's what my father would say. So this particular episode that I watched was about workout equipment. Or, well, it wasn't about workout equipment. It was a murder at a spa for the Ratso Ritzos, right? And oh my God, the treadmills and stuff, and it looked like torture devices. So I started thinking about what are some of the crazy fitness machines that they came up with 10, 20, 30, 40 years ago.
Other than Richard Simmons?
This stuff makes Richard Simmons look like,
He's definitely a machine.
Tiptoe through the tulips, yeah. So, all right, start off with this one. Take a look at this. Bust line developer, squeeze this plastic thing and you'll get bigger breasts. I don't think so.
Wow.
What do you think?
It's only $10. I mean, what are you going to expect?
How about the firm up mask? What do you think of that? Get me to shit my pants, put that on and wake me up in the middle of the night.
It looks like some kind of thing you would put on if you when they used to have the full braces, all the headgear. That's what that
Oh my
looks
God.
like.
Yeah. Now this is interesting. The Sears diet plan, if you'll take a look in the lower right-hand corner of this picture. The plan of the Sears diet plan was a series of strenuous exercises and a big dose of amphetamines.
Yeah,
Again,
that was
people were like,
actually
great.
really popular, and people still take you know, pills to this day that are supposed to be for
Losing weight.
no, they use them to lose weight, but they're supposed to be for ADHD.
Contact your doctor in Mexico for more information.
Yeah.
About this one.
I mean, you know what? I'm pretty sure my mom had one of those. It looked like kind of a chair thing, and you just kind of sat up with it. It really wasn't really. You may as well do sit-ups than.
It wasn't as bad as this.
No, it wasn't. This looks like this is like a 1950s Slendo massager. It looks like a cage with springs rolling over your body to shake the fat off.
Well, look at that look on her face. She looks thrilled, doesn't she?
She looks moderately terrified.
I don't blame her. Jesus. How about this? The Reduce-O-Matic portable sauna of the 1940s. You just climb into the bag and then you quietly enjoy a book knowing that you're losing weight.
Well, they kind of have those things today. They have garments on that just make you really sweat.
That shit work at all.
It's not. It's just sweating. Then you lose the water weight.
This is my favorite. Okay. I'm pretty sure we use this to interrogate suspects at Guantanamo Bay.
Oh my
Nope,
God.
The Molby Revolving Hammock. Make your spine young. Look at that.
Mm.
I like that it's made by the Molby Revolving Hammock Company, not fitness equipment. This is all we do. We know this is such a winner. The whole company is behind this.
Make
the
your
revolving
spine young.
hammock. Yeah.
I say if I need to stretch my spine out, I just hang from monkey bars at any random playground. It works just the
The
same.
revolution has begun. Right, and then what about this one?
Oh God, these were those bands that you would strap on there and they would jiggle it. It was like if exercise is not for you,
Jiggle your fat around.
you just jiggle your fat and it will go away. No,
You know, there's a certain
true.
woman I will not name that you work with that I think would buy into any of these. That constantly talks to me. This woman, she eats donuts every day, but she puts them in a bowl so no one sees them. So she thinks that because they're in a bowl, they don't have any calories. Yeah.
Yeah,
Interesting. I
think
didn't know this hack. I didn't know this.
jiggling the fat up and down is going to help.
Yep. Jiggling the fat. Now this one, this is just, we're getting into the realm of the pure insane. No, we're getting into the realm of the insane here. Small baths with high voltage running through your body, a series of buckets. This looks like she's being interrogated. It really does look at that.
It looks like a complete torture device,
Yep.
like or something not a ratchet,
Yeah.
where they were putting people into hot and cold water and electric shocks. I
It
mean,
didn't work out well for losing weight, but great for torture.
after
Jesus.
that, you really didn't want to eat.
And I didn't think that you were going to be able to top me, but you did. Good Lord. Where on earth you found this picture?
Yeah, this looks like they're training to be in the circus. She's strapped to like some kind of wheel that looks like it's going to rotate and flip around.
There is an
The whole
actual
family's
barbell there,
involved.
but little else.
And you
that I
get the rowing machine.
Are they hanging people? Look at that.
Oh, there she's.
Well, that's the rings,
Yeah,
I
you're
guess.
climbing and
Oh, yeah, but the revolving durable wheel thing is the best.
fun for the whole family.
Oh, my God. Oh. And then there was leg warmers.
Yeah, I never quite understood that. I never got really sweaty right around the calves.
Right. And if that other picture wasn't enough to win the whole thing, Stace found this. The twist and turn.
I love it. It looks like a sit and spin that
Yeah.
they've removed the top from, and you can just come on, baby.
Yep.
Let's do the twist,
Yep.
and it helps. I don't know why you need that to do the twist, but apparently you can even do it if you're wearing a full three-piece suit, as pictured.
Turn up the lights, sweet darling, because... Okay. That was how we started off the show. Okay, enough of our yakking. Let's play another song from Hell Ripper. From the new album, this is The Knuckle of E. Okay, let's talk about Hum Nutrition, Stacy's ad for this week.
Our sponsor this week is Hum Nutrition. They are a wonderful company out of California that literally makes supplements that will improve your life. How, you might ask? I have one such right here. This is called Runway Ready. And the thing I like about this is your pouch is all ready to go for you. This includes killer nails and red carpet. Red carpet gives you nice, thick, full hair, long nails. Also from the killer nails, although I will warn you, have to trim your toenails more frequently and or go get pedicures. But this is a great little pouch. You can take it with you on the go. My hack for this is I only take one red carpet a day, so I save the other one for another day. You got Wingman with your
Middle age.
You've got Wingman with your milk thistle and dandelion. This will help detoxify your liver from any of those, you went out last night. Ripped Rooster is great. This will actually help with exercise. You can't not exercise, but with exercise, this will help support your fat burn. So if you're getting a little older, like some of us, and you need a little push on that metabolism, this is it. And there's no ADH medicine or caffeine to make you jittery. So it actually works. And finally, Flatter Me. This gives you a nice flat stomach as far as we can tell by getting all the probiotic push to clean you out. Mm-hmm. So use our link. Get over to Hum Nutrition. You will save $20 on your first order. Also, Hum is kind of, it's a reward program. So as you buy things, you get points that you can redeem later towards more merchandise. And the more you buy, the more you save. So try out Hum.
Look up the pill called Leap Year. It's great. You can jump 20 feet in the air after you take it. It's amazing. Yeah. Okay, it's time for Campfire. Let's play the Campfire intro.
Because streaming services are evil corporations that gatekeep bands from their fans and pay them pennies while collecting millions.
This is Campfire.
This week's featured band is Spectre, Spektr, from France. Spectre is a collaboration of two recidivist grave robbers, ex-Battlehorns drummer Krigg and multi-instrumentalist Haymoth. Names are shortened to KLK and H so that they can be all mysterious and Deathspell Omega-like, Now, the band does have its own Bandcamp page that features their debut EP, Mescaline. Their early stuff is good. It's a sort of industrial black metal mix. It's got lots of old school tremolo picked frost and some twisted programming, and there's a horror theme. And we all know that the best black metal comes from France, so you should definitely check that out. But you're really going to want to hit the Agonia Records Bandcamp page. That's agoniarecords.bandcamp.com for the real crushers. See, when these two decided to just stop with the vocals and go all instrumental, they upped their game significantly. I think their last two records, Cypher from 2013 and especially 2016's The Art to Disappear, are phenomenal. Phenomenal.
Cypher is incredible.
Yeah.
Particularly the fucking drums.
Oh my God, he's incredible. Yeah.
KLK paradiddling his way into my heart with brass knuckle snare tone that snap, crackles, pops like few others. Yeah. Tetralogy, which is the study of fantastic creatures. By the way, dumbass.
Yeah, I feel like a dumbass.
You gotta read,
I didn't know that.
Magical Creatures by Harry Potter. It's a symbol ride. It's a ride symbol study in black and jazz and assorted weird death sounds all over the course of 9 minutes. Yeah. They're not afraid to resort to ludicrous speed. Take us to ludicrous speed.
Take us to ludicrous speed.
Best evidence in marvelous blasters like Cypher and the Singularity, the latter of which includes a delightful Twilight Zone voiceovers from Rod Serling.
There is a fifth dimension.
Even the ambient bits are catchy, addictive as they are trenchant. Stuff like the Salve Coagula, framing up the creep show sort of like a Mick Gordon soundtrack.
She took French. I did not. Okay. We're going to play this song that's got the Rod Serling voiceover in it. So check this out from Spectre. This is The Singularity. Okay. Campfire continues with more from Spectre. Now we're looking at my favorite record from them, 2016's The Art to Disappear. I always thought it was impressive that this duo can turn on a sixpence from barreling double bass pistons, that the drummer's just a freak, to trippy programming and repetition, and the whole thing is just creepy as all get out. Spectre, they are the black on black wraiths that watch you when you sleep, fading into the dark as you rub your eyes. They're the sound of knives being sharpened at 3 a.m. Immerse thyself into the title track if you dare. Nearly 11 minutes of jazzy Bill Ward-esque TikToks, falling occasionally through trapdoors, simultaneously trippy and thrashy, 2 words you don't typically hear in the same song. The demented sample of Kill Again, which is not a cover of the Slayer song, walks through cold spots and a haunted trailer, perfectly setting up the dark crown jewel of the record. The 6+ minute attack that I'm going to play for you now, called From the Terrifying to the Fascinating. It is a blackened speedball as disorienting as it is captivating. Now, it's a sophisticated, powerful record, The Art to Disappear. It's the perfect genre blend for fruitcakes like me that are all Portal and Deathspell Omega, but we're also not afraid to throw in a ministry record from time to time. Get over to Bandcamp and check out Agonia Records. There's tons of good stuff there. Splatter vinyl 12-inch of Pestilence's Consuming Impulse. You need that. Tons of Verathon, Ergohol, that band Impiety from Singapore. Remember them? All great stuff and all available at Bandcamp via Agonia Records. And now let's play a song. This is From the Terrifying to the Fascinating.
This is our interview with James from Hellripper. We really enjoyed talking with him about his fantastic music and how it is being a solo artist to turning that around to live performance.
Some men are longer than others. Sorry, couldn't not get a Braveheart in there. Okay, so here it is.
So I must tell you, I love running, jogging, with headphones in, the black metal. So throwing your stuff on there and the Cursed Carrion Crowd comes on. And I'm just kind of running, kind of zoning, thinking about how fast that guitar is. And then you come in with that yow. And I literally, I forgot it was coming, nearly jumped 3 feet in the air.
Thank you. I'm very glad that the song's useful for that kind of thing. Yeah.
Useful for a lot of things. I just, just exercise is good, but woo.
Yeah, that's the fastest Hellripper song to date, I think. Overall with the tempo and stuff. And it's a fun one. A fast one, really cool to play on guitar. Yeah.
How fast are your fingers flying during that?
I think the speed is like 208 BPM, beats per minute. Yeah. 208, 206. I can't remember. Something like that.
Borderline grindcore. Yeah.
Where did you draw that yow from? That scared the holy hell out of me.
The original, the Tom Araya type thing.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
That's actually my partner doing that. She's done that on a couple songs now. I don't have the range for that kind of thing, so I'd love to. Most of us
don't, right?
Yeah, I must say you're kind of my favorite type of vocals. Like we were just at Obituary, and they kind of have a similar style where it's growly, but I can understand what you're saying. Especially when I wasn't quite sure. But you can hear you with the 666 and the Witch. It's like actually like. First listen through. I don't have to be like, oh, let me look up the lyrics, So was that styled after anyone in particular, or?
Not really. I'm influenced by a lot of different vocalists, but I do try and make myself as understandable as possible. But loads of people, Obituary, even stuff, Cannibal Corpse, Corpse Grinder, Trevor from Black Dahlia, Tom Araya, just kind of almost anything early Creator, anything from the extreme metal style. I've tried to draw a little bit of influence, but mostly with vocals, it's kind of just what comes out, really. It's just kind of like my natural way of doing extreme vocals, and yeah, I think I've improved over the years. Just kind of developing some sort of my own technique. I couldn't tell you what I'm doing, but it seems to have kind of, in my ears at least, it's improved over the years, and I'm able to do some more things and be a bit more versatile. You know, there's a lot more death metal vocals, you know, influenced by Corpse Grinder and all that kind of stuff. Michael from Opeth. On this album especially, there's a lot more of the death metal type thing. There's some like shouted vocals, you know, like Kronos type stuff. At some points there was like I was influenced by Kvost from the band Code, Grave Pleasures, Beast Milk. But on one of the Code albums, the second Code album, there's a song, it's style in general, but there's a song called Smother the Crones, which I based some parts on that kind of tortured kind of screaming. But yeah, so yeah, to answer your question, it comes from kind of anywhere. But yeah, I'm glad you like them.
We do. Obviously, a goat runs through Hellripper. We love the TikTok of the goat diving into the crowd. Does he have a name? Is he the official? Is he your Eddie, that goat?
No, we don't have a name as such, but yeah, the goat has just kind of became the goat in general, I guess. It's just kind of became the sort of mascot, I guess. In many different forms, you know. I mean, there's the just behind you there with the goat cult artwork. That's based on the tank Filth Hounds of Hades, Filth Goats of Hades. The goat has just over the years become the Hellripper thing, which is great. I love it.
Yeah, I love parody album covers. As soon as I saw that, I was like, "That's from Tank."
Yeah, I've got a few of those. I mean, the original Hellripper Scotland, the kind of logo that I use is obviously the Motorhead England type thing, and originally, that's kind of where the goat thing kind of came from, and it was originally just supposed to be a kind of tribute parody to Motorhead design, you know. I was going to print like 50 t-shirts just as a tribute, just for fun, but it seemed to kind of stick with people. People liked it, and that became kind of the official, like the official kind of logo, I guess you could say. And I've put that design on everything now, and it's just kind of evolved from there.
Cool. I mean,
I like
tying the two together. I mean, did you read in Lemmy's book when he took Tank on the road, him and Algie, and what happened with the wives? Did you read that?
No, I have. I don't think I've actually read Lemmy's book. No.
He talks about when he took Tank out, and he says it so matter of factly. He says, "I knew they were doomed because the wives came, and if you bring the wives out, that's a rookie move, because after every show, the wives are like, you know, the whole band wouldn't be the same without you. You're not getting enough money. You're not getting enough attention." And of course, it fell apart.
I would have loved to be at that tour. I've had a few people tell me that they saw that tour, the Motorhead and Tank, in my hometown Aberdeen. People said that was a great show, and I would have loved to have been there. Two of my favorite, especially Tank are one of my all-time favorites. Motorhead, of course, as well, but Tank is just, I love Tank.
It's funny you said Aberdeen. He used to live in Aberdeen, but this Aberdeen, we have one here in Maryland.
I think it was a knockoff of yours, actually.
I think yours came first. Yes,
I think so. So let me ask you first of all, that the title Warlocks Grim and Weathered Hags, shouldn't it be Warlocks Grim and Hags Withered? Shouldn't it be, like, how did you put those words together in that order? Is that?
So it's a quote from, or it's a line from a Robert Burns poem.
Okay.
So the poem Addressed to the Devil, which the title track is based on, Warlocks Grim and Withered Hags.
Okay.
That is a line from that poem, and that line just kind of stuck with me, especially for an album title. I think it rolls off the tongue, kind of the rhythm of the title, and I don't know, the imagery it conjures. I think it's a cool title, a little bit different as well, I guess. Yeah,
What is
but
an-
yeah, it
what
comes
is-
from a Burns poem.
What is a knucklevi?
The Knucklevi, that is a horse-like demon creature, uh, based on Orcadian folklore. So it's a horse-like demon, giant, grotesque, malformed, with the kind of a rider on its back. It's a rider attached to the torso, but with big limbs and contorting head, and it just kind of causes death and plague and all sorts of metal stuff, stuff that fit the Hell Ripper kind of aesthetic, but while also relating it to the Scottish theme, which I did with this album. Very metal story topic.
I knew we were interviewing you. I could have Googled it, but I thought, no, I want to ask him. I want to hear him explain it. So, yeah.
Yeah, I love how you end that song with the knucklevi.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
bam, it just sticks in your head. I was like,
Mhm.
all right, I must know more about this. So are these like stories that you kind of grew up with or that you came across?
Yeah, kind of a mixture. A few of them I was kind of aware of, and I knew the basics or in new stories and things like that, but some of them I did kind of discover while just I moved up to the Highlands, the Scottish Highlands, just at the start of the writing process, and it kind of inspired me, just being kind of surrounded by the landscapes and all of that kind of stuff, just kind of inspired me to look deeper into kind of the darker side of Scottish history and folklore and stories and all of that kind of stuff, just out of interest, kind of. And I thought maybe I could get a couple of song topics or ideas and things like that. But after reading everything and learning about loads of stuff, and even looking deeper into the stuff that I already knew about, there was just so much that I could explore, that I decided that this album would revolve around Scotland in general as a theme. Of course, it has to fit the aesthetic that I want to go for with Hell Ripper, so it's got to be, the darker side. So you've got, like you say, the knucklevi, like these creatures, kind of evil creatures, the Stoorworm, things relating to the devil in Scotland. So all that kind of stuff. It's not, I didn't want to go for, William Wallace or whatever,
It's been done to
that type
death.
of stuff. It's not really the Hell Ripper aesthetic. I want it to be, evil, dark. So I mean, it could be that kind of stuff can be evil and dark, but not in the Hell Ripper aesthetic, and yeah, so it was fun to, learn about some of that stuff and write about something different. Seeing kind of some of the same stuff as usual, the themes are similar, the lyrical topics, the lyrical themes are similar to what I've done previously, but just kind of put in a Scottish context, I guess. And yeah, there was so much to write about that. Yeah, I think the next album is also going to be based on Scotland as well. There's just so much.
So you can't get a whole lot darker than that, the Sawney Bean.
Yeah, I mean, that was a perfect lyrical topic for that track, The Cursed Carrying Crown. It lent itself very well to some Cannibal Corpse styled lyrics, yeah, that was the main influence for that lyrically. A cannibal clan that lives in a cave and just captures, tortures, eats people. It's very, very Cannibal Corpse and very.
I hadn't heard of that one until I kind of was diving in. I was like, wow, that's dark.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, I think it's kind of inspired things like The Hills Have Eyes and things like
Yeah.
that. I think. Yeah.
So what kind of led you into a more technical approach as black metal as opposed to like an orthodox approach?
I don't really think about it, to be honest. It's just what happens when I'm writing. I guess I've always been influenced by the more thrashier bands rather than, I guess, like black metal. Of course, I want to mix the two, and a lot of songs, you know, are quite simple, I guess. Especially, I guess, the earlier Hellripper material was more based on like metal punk, first wave of black metal, you know, Motorhead, Venom, Tank, anything metal punk, first wave black metal, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I've always been influenced by Metallica, Megadeth, Annihilator, Artillery, Slayer, and I guess just kind of my influence is kind of is this time around. I guess I was just more inclined to write more technical riffs, a bit more tried to be a bit more varied this time around, you know. I was influenced by a lot of like non-metal things as well this time. I tried to limit myself less and kind of just bring in all sorts of influences that I wouldn't usually incorporate in Hellripper. So stuff like, you know, the Beatles, Manic Street Preachers, Nirvana, Alice in Chains, Typo Negative, and stuff like Agalot, things like that. And I guess, just I didn't really think about it, to be honest. It's just kind of what happens. And yeah, if a song is good, then a song is good no matter what to me. If the song has one riff and it's like 3 chords, you know, the Ramones, if a song sounds like that and it's good, perfect. If a song has 20 different parts and is proggy or whatever you would call it, then that's also equally valid as long as the track is good to me.
Yeah, like me and some of my friends were talking about the other day. To Whom the Bell Tolls is a bass line and 2 riffs. That's it.
Yeah.
Brilliant lyric, you know, and it's like, it's such a simple song, but it's so potent and so ahead of its time, you know.
Yeah, and on that same album you have, you know, something like Ride the Lightning, which is a bit more complex, and both equally amazing songs. And and even if you go back, just going back, Whiplash is like what, 3 riffs or 4 riffs, but mainly just a variation. And then to Enter Sandman, which is almost like 1 or 2, like kind of, it's all based around 1 riff. So anything is
it doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be 30 different riffs in one song. It doesn't have to be like that.
Well, obviously, being a one-man recording, how many instruments can you actually play?
Good question.
Just the stuff, really. I mean, I'd love to, just the stuff that's on the Hellripper kind of thing. I'm more, guitar is my focus. Guitar is my instrument, and how I write everything for the most part, and what I play on, you know, every day. It's what I practice. I'd love to learn to play more, but it's just, I remember how bad I was at guitar and how long it took me to get to a decent level, and then to get to a level that I would feel comfortable recording at. That just scares me. That just puts me off kind of learning anything more. But I'd love to. It's just I'd rather work on songwriting and things. And the good thing is that I can, if I want to write for something else, you know, write for another instrument or whatever, it's all relatively similar. You know, if you can write the music for it, you can just kind of, I can hire a session musician or something to play that on a recording, which kind of seems to be the way that I would prefer right now, instead of learning, you know, bagpipes, for example, on this album. I don't have the patience for starting learning bagpipes, and I don't think my street or my neighbors would be too pleased.
Speaking of bagpipes, I might as well ask you. So, does Scotland get to claim AC/DC, or are they Australian?
I think we can go for both.
Okay.
I mean, three were born in Scotland, but lived in Australia for however long. I guess both. I mean, yeah, you would need to ask them what they would say.
Yeah, what do they? How do they identify? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was kind of comparing you in my head a lot to, we had interviewed John. Do you know Black Braid?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Because, he kind of does like
The one
throws in, well, he's also the one guy, but he throws in, of course, his Native American and Native American flute. And then when I saw you had bagpipes, I was like, wow.
very similar. Yeah.
So that was kind of neat. I was like wondering who played those. I was like, wow.
Yeah, that was a session musician that I got for that. I think it was recorded like I think it was Christmas Eve or something. It was recorded. I remember I was at my parents' house, just kind of trying to mix the album, kind of over Christmas, and I got the bagpipe track, and it was great. But it was good putting the bagpipes in. It was something that I thought again was something maybe a bit different for speed metal, and it was something that fits the album and fits the track as well. I didn't want to put bagpipes in there just for the sake of it. So the lyrical theme being Scotland and the track being kind of a Bathory influenced kind of epic, for lack of a better word, track. I thought the bagpipes would go in well there without sounding out of place or sounding obnoxious or.
No, it sounds great.
Yeah.
Very well with the theme. Yeah.
Yeah, I like the way your guitars kind of go from this melodic bit and then they kind of hit this chuggy riff at times. Is there a rhyme or reason why you put things where, or just how you think it should sound?
Yeah, just how I think it should sound. Yeah, I have there's like 20 versions of each song that I write, just with different parts. Like sometimes the riff that sometimes riffs don't make the song, I just delete them and keep them for something else. And sometimes the chorus of a track becomes like a bridge part that just gets repeated once or something like that. It's difficult when writing, it's difficult but important not to get like too attached to how things are like originally. If you have an idea like, oh, I love this riff so much, it has to be the main riff, it has to be the chorus, but it may not work like that. It may work best just kind of at the end for 10 seconds or something like that. So yeah, whatever serves the song the best is what I try to do. So yeah, I do a lot of kind of changing riffs about and changing parts and adding, subtracting, because I try and not have things overstay their welcome as well. I don't want there to be kind of any wasted space in a track. If a track has kind of 10 seconds that are unnecessary, then I can get rid of that. I want it to be kind of, even if the track is like a 9-minute long song, I still feel like each part is necessary. And so yeah, the writing is fun for me. I like the kind of experimenting and just trying different things, especially over the years that I've improved my ability as both on my instruments and while recording, mixing and all that kind of stuff, because yeah, the production side is also a big part of it as well. Just learning how to make more guitars sit in the mix better, layering guitars, layering vocals, different speakers, having things happen, different speakers, more effects to give more atmosphere, things like that. It's really fun for me. That's why I like to do everything myself as well, just because I enjoy the whole process. And
I was going to ask you, it seems like, going back when Burzum first came out, and the idea of, oh my God, he plays all the instruments himself was just so mind-blowing. But now there are so many bands doing that, like what you're doing, like the guy from France, Isaac Cholahum, just cranking out so many one-man and quality black metal. And then, of course, we talked about Black Braid. We were just introduced to a band from Mumbai called Demon Stealer.
Oh yeah.
And, he's a one man. Why do you think it's becoming? We're seeing more and more of that. Why?
I think just because of technology, really. I think for me at least, it was easy just to kind of use a laptop. There's no costs involved really. You don't need to hire out a studio.
Yeah.
You don't need to hire session musicians. You don't need to hire anyone to mix things. Now the technology is relatively easy to use and all of that. So it's, for me at least, it was just, I can do everything on my laptop here at home. There's I use very minimal gear, I don't, it doesn't really cost much to produce an album at home, and I think you can still get good results by doing it yourself as well if you put the time into it. And I just think it's
Technology.
fun to do it like that for me as well.
It's a lot less arguing with yourself too,
Well, you would think. That's also part of it. There's so much. I mean, there's the advantages and disadvantages, but I think I prefer working this way just because, like you say, no kind of compromising on the musical, the music. But I guess the disadvantage to that is also like you don't have other input that could give you a better result. But
are there people that you play stuff for and say, what do you think of this? Or is it just strictly off who's your sounding board when you're trying
it's usually my partner. She's usually getting everything I write. I'm like, I've came up with this part, what do you think? And then I also send it to the guys that I have in the live band as well. And I've got the Peaceville as well, the label. I occasionally send stuff to them. So just people that I can trust for honest opinions, because sometimes you send stuff and people, don't want to hurt your feelings or whatever. So they're like, oh yeah, it's amazing. It's the best thing ever. And you're all pleased with yourself. And then it's horrible just because, so it's good to get people that you can trust to kind of give you honest feedback and whatever can help me make the best music possible is what I want.
What was it like when you were going from all right, so you created everything yourself to start off with, and then you had to put a band together? What was that like? That couldn't have been easy.
Yeah, how did it translate over?
It was actually relatively easy at the start. I'd never intended to play live, so I didn't really put any effort into looking for other people. But just by chance, I was at a show, a local show, watching some band, and I was introduced to a guy, Callum, who played drums in a few death metal bands in Aberdeen, and he was looking to kind of get stuff going again. So he said he was interested, and I got a couple of my friends in to play bass and guitar, and it just kind of went from there. It was relatively easy. And over the years, the lineup has changed a little bit live. But it's been a lot easier than I imagined it would be, because the whole reason I started as a solo project is because I didn't know anyone. I didn't know anyone in the scene. I wasn't really involved in my scene at that point. I was, and I didn't know anyone that was into similar music. So I thought, let's do everything myself. I'll learn how to do things myself, and let's see what will happen. A few of my favorites do that, Midnight, Toxic Holocaust, Joe Grind, Bathory, even Dark Throne are just two people. So I was like, let's do it like that. And then over the years, it's actually been easier than I imagined to get a band together. And for the most part, it's just kind of friends of mine that have been in the band. The only kind of non-local person is the current drummer, Max, who he just answered a social media post that I made asking for a drummer within 1 or 2 days or something. And that was, that's about the most difficult it's been, just putting out social media posts. So I'm glad that I haven't had that kind of difficulties, because when I was younger and first starting, like jamming with friends and putting bands together, I think everyone can relate that it's impossible to find a drummer. You
Yeah, I hear that.
And that was, and I think that was kind of the main reason a lot of my attempts at starting bands, earlier when I was, 15, 16, it was just too difficult to find a drummer. And it just kind of, everyone's enthusiasm kind of drains and things just fall apart and everyone loses interest. And yeah.
When you were, putting together the live show, did you know immediately what role you would be in?
Yeah, I'd been in a couple of bands before, just kind of playing guitar and vocals. And I thought that would be, the best way to do things. Just, there wasn't really much thought into it. I just thought, I'll play guitar and vocals. It just seemed to make most sense, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, I was listening to some of your stuff and it came up. It was like Highlands and Portals. So you know where my head went. I was like, Outlander. Is there a big, and then it occurred to me, with that whole portal drama, is there like a history of portals in Scotland? Or just the stones?
I don't think so. Yeah, just the stones, I guess. To be honest, I haven't actually I've only watched like a few episodes of Outlander. I used to live next to the village where it was shot.
Oh, wow.
But I didn't know at the time. I'd never watched Outlander, so I didn't really recognize it. But yeah, I couldn't tell you any more info on that.
Our joke is that she's the most nearly raped woman in Hollywood, 'cause she's
Okay.
always almost getting raped.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
I'll
'Cause she's got that mouth and she's going back in time and it's all men and just it's like, oh no, here it comes again, So.
like I said, I've got no idea. I think I watched like 4 episodes and
Yeah. I wanted to ask you, so touring, who are some of your I'm sure you have some stories where you bumped into some of your idols or got to meet some of your idols. Who were some memorable people you met?
Yeah, so I mean, one of our we played a show with Midnight, of course, one of my favorites. We're playing a few shows with them again this summer. We toured last year with Gamma Bomb, and they're one of the bands that I got into when getting into metal. Really nice guys, great band. And that was a great time. We just finished 3 dates with Warbringer, who, again, one of my favorites and another band that got me into metal and thrash metal. We've only played, I think, over the 8 years that Hellripper has existed, we've only played like 50 shows or something. So it's not too much, but now we did have the COVID kind of stopped a whole bunch of stuff happening. So that kind of didn't help. But yeah, now we're kind of starting to get back into the touring. We've got some stuff planned that I can't really speak about. But yeah, it's really cool, playing with bands that I like the people I mentioned, and newer bands as well, like Spectral Wound, and we played with Discharge, Orange Goblin, it's been crazy and stuff that I never thought would happen when I started recording songs in my bedroom 9 years ago or whatever it is. It's crazy, but it's really fun, and I'm so grateful that
You've got some UK dates coming up. It looks like with Flotsam and Jetsam and Razor and Enforcer and more. Have you played with any of them before?
We played with Enforcer a couple of months ago at a festival in the Netherlands, which was great. Who else? We haven't played with Razor, or I think Flotsam and Jetsam may have just cancelled their appearance. I think they had to cancel their tour, actually. So, but yeah, we've got a few dates coming up, festivals with Violator. There's so much stuff. I'm trying to Exciter. I'm really looking forward to that. Exciter, playing with them, and bands like Vulture, Butcher, Schizophrenia.
That's interesting about Flotsam and Jetsam canceling, because I just heard about Anthrax canceling their tour. I think the
Yeah.
American bands are doing the calculations on cost and going, we just can't make this happen.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what it is. I may be wrong. I think Flotsam and Jetsam cancelled. I think I seen a thing on there. And then there was another band as well, another American band that recently cancelled.
Well known. Yeah, these are
July.
known bands. Yeah. So,
Yeah, touring costs, and especially for overseas
Yeah.
bands. I mean, I don't know what the cost would be for American bands coming over here, but I know for me to go over to the US, it's ridiculously expensive and time consuming with the visas and stuff. So
yeah.
just on my end, from my experience, yeah. But
I'm
I mean,
hoping
if
it's just a temporary thing. I'm hoping that over the next couple of years that'll start to become more reasonable, because it's just, I think everybody's trying to remake the money they lost during COVID or something.
I think that's basically it. Everyone's trying to tour at the same time, so there's like less availability with buses and shows in general. Things are booked already. Staff, both, a lot. I think a lot of like crew and things like that had to find other jobs, during COVID, and some of them just didn't return because they just stayed with their jobs that they got or whatever, just things like that. And even bands, some bands have split up just because they just didn't want to get back into it, all the hassle after COVID. And I mean, less availability, the energy costs that went up, the cost of living for people. So there's people not buying tickets to things. Just loads of fun factors.
Well, I'm hoping that we get hammered with bands wanting, please review, because there's so much music. I'm hoping that this will be like a filter process where all the crappy Ailstorm cover bands will just give it up, and the strong will survive. And that's what I'm hoping.
I just hope. I mean, I hope things things have started to get better. It's going to be a slow process, but things are definitely, I guess you could say, normal ish now.
Well, maybe we could lure you over to one of our festivals, like MDF is 2024, and we're going to Hell in the Harbor this weekend, which is a new festival.
Yeah, I've heard about that one. Yeah, I've been in touch with quite a few American promoters and booking agents and things, and it's just as well as the cost. It's like the time consuming, like the paperwork for visas, the risk that your visa will get declined for whatever reason, and the cost as well is the big thing. So as soon as we're kind of able to make it financially viable and get things organized in a good way, and our schedule allows it and things like that, I'll be over to the US. I really want to get over there, but
that's great.
It's just we've got to come over for quite a few weeks to kind of make it worth our while, I guess. And because we're not a touring band, I don't like to tour half of the year. That's not really my interest. Whenever we've got plans in Europe, we're going to be out for maybe 1 or 2 months already next year, 2024, in Europe. So it kind of limits the availability for the US as well. But like I say, as soon as we're able to make it happen and make it viable, make it work, we will.
It's funny, John from Blackbird said the same thing, that he was not planning on touring, and guess what? He's touring.
We've been
coming
touring
with Dark Funeral and
we've been touring. Well, we've got more plans, I guess, than we had. We're kind of upping the touring amount kind of year on year. But yeah, it's like I say, yeah, we had COVID, which just cancelled everything, and now we've got the new album out, so it's something to kind of promote, and yeah, we'll see what happens.
I, by the way, love your girly line of merch. If only it could be here in time for Hell in the Harbor. The bodysuit that says goat cult, like, right? Oh, I love
Yeah,
it.
Is that all your swag behind you that you you
yeah,
sell? Okay.
yeah. All of that is so. There's a few different stores. This is the Bandcamp store is what I operate myself. So anything from Bandcamp is what I send personally. And then I've also got a US store and an EU store, which are handled by places in the EU and the US, you know, for cheaper shipping costs and faster delivery times, hopefully, in most cases. And then, yeah, we've just kind of recently started working with, you know, different companies like the one you mentioned there. We've got Metal Mistress, who are making women's merch, you know, yeah, like you say, the swimsuits, crop tops, some leggings.
The leggings are epic.
Yeah, they look cool. Yeah, the quality is great as well. So it's really cool to have a wide range of stuff. I like to have as much stuff available that I can for people to, if people don't want, you know, just a standard black t-shirt, they can have, you know, red booty shorts or something.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, it's a lot of times bands like forget the girls but do you think you're getting a larger female fan base than maybe at one time? Because I see a lot more girls out.
Possibly. I'm not too sure, but the women's merch does well, and yeah, I like to accommodate for everyone, you know. Just from like speaking to people, like my partner and other girls, it's, you know, they've said like there's a lot of bands don't offer women's merch, or
They don't.
sometimes the women's merch is more expensive for whatever reason. I'm not too sure, and it kind of stops a lot of women buying merch that they would like. So I like to try and be accommodating to anyone that wants to wear Hellripper merch or want to be is a fan of the music. You know, I'd rather have something for everyone.
Totally. I mean, the mix I see at the shows is almost 50-50 now, which, I mean, I was the guy in 1995 going to see like Malevolent Creation, and it was all dudes. So it's really changed a lot, you know. I would have never thought that it would be this type of music would become 50-50, but it has. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I've got no idea on the kind of, I've got no idea, but yeah, if anyone wants to be there's no discrimination here. If anyone's a fan of Hellripper, you're very welcome to join the goat cult, you know.
Absolutely.
Oh, I'm joining. I'm signing up right now. So we have a game, okay? I have 100 questions before me, but don't worry, because you're only going to pick 5 numbers between 1 and 100.
Excellent.
So go ahead.
Okay. 11. 43. 3. 96. And 84.
All right. I have to put on my glasses for this. Fuck middle age. If you could instantly learn a language without studying it, which one would you pick?
Probably French, because I spend a lot of time in France and my partner's French, so it would be very useful. And I'm still Duolingo is not helping me as much as I hoped it would.
You're kind of working on it, sort of, kind of.
Yeah, I'm working on it. I had a good 2-year streak going, but yeah, it's still not. I can understand some and I can read some, but I'm not the best. But it would be useful to me.
Yeah.
All right. So next up, we have 43. What do you hate most about driving?
Driving. I don't drive, so
Wow.
There you
That's
go.
probably what you hate most about it then.
Yeah.
What do you hate most about walking?
Walking. Oh, any form of physical exercise I hate.
All right,
that's
we're
great.
back to number 3. Have you ever failed at anything, and if so, what?
Yeah, loads of stuff. I mean, I failed loads of stuff in, loads of exams in school and university and stuff like that. Again, what could you fail at? I guess a few like earlier bands of mine, they never done as well as I would have hoped, and
Gotcha. Yeah.
some of them never even got, to play a show or whatever, just loads of stuff. I don't know whether it's a failure or, I mean, I don't know, because everything kind of leads you to where you are now. So I'm kind of glad that the other bands didn't really take off and things like that, just because
Part of learning. Part of learning.
yeah, if you fail at something, usually it can be a learning experience, and you can learn from your mistakes and kind of improve on what you do in the future, which is what I hope
Agreed.
done.
There are no failures, there are only lessons.
Yeah.
All right, so we're up to 96. What is the craziest traveling story that you have had?
Craziest traveling. Traveling. I mean, just in terms of, there's not much, to be honest. Nothing really crazy really happens in my life, to be honest.
Well, here's a tip that we actually got from another band. Don't wear a bullet belt in Mexico because he got arrested.
Yeah, that would okay, yeah, we were in the Netherlands not too long ago for a festival, and a woman spit on me in the street.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So
That's
that's something.
That's unusual.
All right.
Yeah, that was Matt Harvey from Exhumed, by the way, that got arrested for having a belt.
Okay.
A bullet belt in Mexico. They didn't find that funny at all.
I can imagine.
He
Matt
was
Harvey.
trying to explain, I'm not. This is just for dress, and
Yeah. Well, at that, when we were in the Netherlands, Matt Harvey was playing.
Oh, really? That's cool.
So
Yeah,
hopefully
we're learning that the extreme metal world is very small. We both
Oh, he's great. He has a absolutely great sense of humor
he
too.
does. He does.
Yeah, all his music's great as well. Like the
Oh,
500 bands that he does, everything.
I know
Everything's great, man.
he's a busy guy too. Yeah.
All right, so we're up to 84. Do you have a favorite quote?
Favorite quote? Not really. Usually it's just, stupid quotes that I would say, from like comedy shows.
Well, that's good. What's a good stupid quote?
What's a good stupid from The Office, David Brent, a good idea is a good idea forever. Things like that, just I'm not very maybe I've got stuff, but I can't think on the off the top of my head. I think that would be it. Most of what I say is stupid anyway, so it'll be some sort of comedy quote from like a weird British comedy.
I like when that one show Ricky Gervais comes out and he says 18 years sober, and he lets everybody applaud, and then he goes, "It was the first 18. After that, I've been drunk every night of my life." One of my favorites.
So you have a lot of other projects too. You've got Lock Hell and you've got Lord Rot. Do you have to put on a different hat for all of these projects, or?
Yeah, kind of. But yeah, to be honest, I haven't done anything with those other projects for so long now. The Lock Howl I've been kind of writing. That's more, post-punk, goth, post-punk, alternative rock kind of stuff in that sort of vein. So yeah, it's different writing for that. Back when I was writing the first album, there's I think there's only one guitar solo in that album compared to Hellripper, where there's like 3 guitar solos per song. So that was kind of different. It's a bit less riff based and more focus on kind of other areas, which it's a different way of looking at things. Lord Rot was death metal, so it was relatively similar to Hellripper, just a bit more focus on the more extreme side, I guess, rather than the melodic side, I guess you would say, even though Lord Rot did end up sounding a melodic at times. But yeah, it's just kind of thinking of if a riff doesn't kind of fit Hellripper, you know, it's a bit too death metal, it will go in a different band. If I come up with something that's, you know, post-punk and sounds like Joy Division, it will go in a different band, things like that. But over the years, especially with this last album, I've kind of tried to bring in these influences into Hellripper and make them work in a way that makes Hellripper a bit more diverse or a bit more varied, but it's got to still, just without diluting the sound. So it's got to still sound aggressive, still sound like Hellripper, but, you know, it would be cool if I could incorporate some post-punk stuff in there.
I thought you had a little punk and Goat Vomit Nightmare.
Yeah, there's a lot of, yeah, that's actually, Goat Vomit was actually a lot influenced by a lot of like blues guitar and things like that. A guy called Billy Strings, a bluegrass guy, people like Joe Bonamassa, Peter Green, Fleetwood Mac, the Stray Cats, Dire Straits, stuff like that, kind of different guitar styles than your usual punk metal. And I tried to make that, put that into the kind of a midnight metal punk template, and I think it sounded quite cool, a bit different, while still retaining the Hellripper sound. You know, I don't think it sounds out of place. I think it just sounds good.
I love the cover art, so tattoo worthy, and I saw some tattoos on your social media. Do a lot of people come up to you and show you their Hellripper tattoo?
Yeah, it's really cool. A few people have got tattoos, like you say. Yeah, it's really cool seeing that. Yeah, it's an honor that people like the music that much, or to do that. It's crazy. I love it. And yeah, the Goat Cult are the best fans ever. Like, they support me so much. They're the best. Just, they help me do what I do, and I'm very grateful for their dedication and their support and their help as well. You know, I'm often asking for opinions on, you know, what people would like and what people would like to see, for example, merch, or maybe a set list, or content they would like to see, or whatever. And they give their opinions, and they recommend, you know, bands to me. Like, I speak to people about like band recommendations, and they'll tell, like, some people tell me the best place to get like merch made in their country, or places to play, stuff like that. You know, just the fans are really the fans are really helpful and supportive of the band, which is, I'm very grateful that I'm able to do this and that I've got these people behind me.
So for the cover art that Adam Burke did for this, did he kind of just listen and let him go, or did you give him a direction? Or
usually that's the case, but this time the artwork was already there.
Oh.
I was just Adam Burke's one of my favorite artists in metal, so I was just kind of browsing his page just for fun, really, on Facebook or something like that, and I came across this painting, and he said it was available for licensing. And as soon as I saw that, I immediately knew it was exactly what I had in my mind for the album. You know, I wanted it to be green to kind of reflect the Highlands of Scotland. I wanted a goat on it, of course. And just the rest of everything, kind of coincidentally, a lot of it relates to the lyrics. You know, you've got the withered hags, well, the three withered hags that could be up on top of the cliff. So you've got the withered hags there, the three of them, which could represent the three witches in Macbeth, for Eye the Deceiver. and then even little things like the guy riding the goat could be a sort of Hellripper version of the Knuckle of E, you know.
That'd
And
be
the
neat.
psychedelic goat could be Goat Vomit Nightmare. Just
Wow.
loads of stuff like that. Coincidentally, kind of, you could see loads of, like, if you like analyzed it, I guess, with like just you could draw your own interpretations and stuff. And I immediately thought this was perfect. And I wrote to him asking if it was still available. He originally told me it wasn't, and I was very disappointed.
I guess, yeah.
But I asked again, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I just made a mistake. Yeah, no, sorry, it is available."
Okay.
So yeah, very, very pleased when I got that. I actually got that artwork like, yeah, ages, like a year, 18 months or something, maybe 12 to 18 months before the album was like completed. Like it was something like that. Yeah, I think I got it, yeah, maybe 2 years ago or something. Like, yeah, it was very, yeah, ages ago. And I've had it for so long just because I needed to have it immediately to use. Yeah.
So the reviews have come in. Everything I've read has just been glowing. Did you have a sense when you were writing this that this was really going to be possibly your best work to date?
I thought it was my best work to date, but you know, people often disagree. So I never really have any expectations. Usually it's kind of worse expectations, you know. I'm like, people will probably not like this for whatever reason, you know. So I just try to write and record what I think personally is good. If I enjoy it, then hopefully other people will as well. But as long as I like it, then it's kind of, because it's a hobby, because it's my passion and stuff, that's the main thing. If I'm happy with it, then that's kind of
matters. That's what
that's
matters.
kind of objective, complete. But yeah, I couldn't really, yeah, it's difficult, you know. You don't know what people like, what people will respond to, or other people. So yeah, just like I say, if I like it, hopefully other people like it. And yeah, the reviews have been,
Yeah.
yeah, crazy. The amount of exposure the album got in general was a lot more than I was expecting. The reception's been more positive than I was expecting. Yeah, I'm very grateful that people like it, and yeah, I put a lot of effort into it, so it's good that people, you know, enjoy it. Yeah, it was the most fun I've had as well, just on this album. Yeah, it was the most fun while writing
You can
it.
tell. You can really tell by just the amount of energy. That is
Yeah,
a lot of fun.
yeah, it was really fun.
Take that.
Usually when I'm recording and stuff, you know, I'm getting, you know, annoyed about things, you know, like trying to figure out, like, why isn't this working? Why can't I do this sound? You know, trying to get something right in the mix and then changing everything completely and all of that stuff. But for this one, there was, yeah, it was just kind of really fun. I enjoyed incorporating these different influences into the music. You know, it was a lot of guitar layering and trying different things. It was, yeah, it was really fun for me. It was just the most enjoyable experience I've had while recording. So, like, not nearly as stressful as usually I would make it. So yeah, it was a fun, yeah, just a fun process. And I'm, yeah, like I say, I'm glad that the reviews are good, and the albums had a lot more streams, a lot more sales than the previous, and the following is growing, and all of that kind of stuff as well. So the band's reputation is on the up as well. So yeah, I can't really complain. Everything's went well, and I'm very grateful that it's all gone.
So what's on your Spotify playlist these days? What kind of stuff you've been into lately?
I'll need to check. I've been listening to this new band, I think they're new, called October Drift, who are kind of grunge type thing from the UK. I've also been listening to a lot of Watain, Agalok. Let's check. I'm gonna check.
I always like
Just-
to look to see what I have on repeat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm so bad at coming up with things off the top of my head that like I'll forget the most basic thing. I hope I don't need to sign in. Let's see. Apologies for this being boring. Okay, yeah. So the new Grave Pleasures was really cool. The new tracks from the band Cloak. They're really cool, kind of Watain Tribulation mix. Really cool. I've listened to a lot of Steel Wing, Annihilator, and Blue Oyster Cult.
Oh, look at that. Interesting. Yeah.
So that's what's just coming up on like my main page right now. That I've been listening to, and loads of other stuff, Metallica, Megadeth, Opeth, my usual kind of Toxic Holocaust.
My brother will call me up and he'll just get me all charged up about Metallica. He'll be like, "Tell me a weak track on Injustice for All," and I'll be like, and we'll argue. And by the time I get done talking to him, I'm like, I gotta put Metallica on. Like, he's got me all charged up.
What do
Yeah,
you think of their new stuff?
I quite like it. There's a few songs that I really liked. I wish it's a bit mid-paced in general, I think. And I think most of the songs could have probably been shortened by about 2 minutes or something.
Lots of repetition.
Yeah, but for the most part, like the choruses, I think are great. I think Hetfield's vocals are probably the best they've been in 20 odd years. Yeah, I think it's a good album in overall. But I like almost all Metallica. I'm a big fan of Load, Reload, Death Magnetic. Yeah. So I mean, I'm like a Metallica fanboy. So I guess it's.
I wonder what it's going to be like on the tour bus because Hetfield is single, and everybody else has family.
I mean,
he's divorced, so
they're probably flying in everywhere. I mean, they only do like the 2 shows and.
Right, and then they fly back out.
Yeah, I think they've. I wish I could do that. Just 2 shows and then go back home for however long. Yeah, but yeah, their shows have been looking good from what I've seen online. I think they're playing tonight or yesterday or something in Paris. Yeah.
Well, this was great.
Yeah, we hope that at some point to see you over here. We'll go out for a pint after. It'll be great.
It'll be great.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, I hope it happens sooner rather than later. I mean, yeah, it's been a while. I hope I get to the US as soon as possible. But yeah, it'd be cool to meet you, and yeah, hopefully, yeah. And I appreciate
what you're doing. Everything, the music's great. The process sounds great.
I'm already signing you up for Hell on the Harbor for next year. So just you got that.
Love it.
Yeah, they'll do whatever we tell them. I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for taking the time to listen to me speak about shit. And
great.
Thank you very much.
Enjoyed it.
I'll try to remember not to be scared next time I have it on when I run. I don't know why that jumped me out of my skin.
Alrighty, sir. Well, good luck. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Sounds of Decay 1. This is Nightmare, Deformity Adrift. The glut of quality death metal continues to swell, with this hodgepodge 5-piece from all over the place. This is a compilation of Berlin, Tampa, and New York. But geographic curiosities aside, this is massive stuff considering it's only their second full-length album since forming 10 years ago. 8 songs, impressively short, with only 2 cracking the 5-minute mark. But this band gets a lot done in short order. The percussive style of German stickmeister Paul Seidel is full of sideways tech rolls, but he's also not afraid to play a straight beat in service of the song. Vocalist John Collett has obviously studied his emulation as his booming style does recall the spectacular work of Russ Dolan, gliding impressively over the dissonant riff workouts of Keith Miro and Simon Hallman.
Yeah, I think it's really refreshing that a band can pull off a Deathspell Omega / Immolation style record and keep the song so brief. For example, the song we're going to play for you, Brutalist Impersonator, is fueled by the well-timed stops, starts, and fills of Seidel, bolstered by glorious slow chugs that flourish halfway through the song. Baptismal Tomb rockets away on crazed blast beats, Tollett booming over dissonant squiggles before the whole thing sort of collapses into a jazzy tune-up. It almost sounds like Seidel took a break, took a swig, and then went back into the craziness. Yeah. That's a really good one. And the cover art looks a lot like me trying to do yoga.
Yeah.
I'm so bad at it. The teacher like stands behind me for the whole class. Can you stand behind somebody else? No, your knee goes here more. It's humiliating. So, but at any rate, this is a quality exercise in tech death brevity. And it looks like Nick McMaster from Corrales has joined the band on bass because he doesn't have enough to do cranking out an hour plus record every 6 months with Corrales and all his side projects. So anyway, I'm very proud of this joke. Nightmare coming to a town near you with special guest child carer and silverwarer. Wow, wow, wow. Let's play a song. This is Brutalist Impersonator.
This is Sounds of Decay 2, Majesties. This is Vast Reaches Unclaimed. Majesties is a meeting of the minds between Carl and Matt from Exernerum and some of the guys from melodic black outfit Obsequiae. The debut is a match made in Minnesota, a celebration of Gothenburg style of melodic death metal with a touch of post-rock ringing in the guitar tones. Lyrically, the 10 songs seems linked. Concept album?
Yeah, I think so.
Telling the story of some magical dreamlike journey through time and space. Tanner Anderson's drum style is unique, mostly following a slow, rockish tempo with very creative and lucrative use of blast beats.
Yeah.
No doubt this will be celebrated by folks that are collecting Jesper Stromblad action figures.
Hey, what's wrong with that? Anderson's vocals, they never waver from the realm of the raspy, but the guitars are sweeping and grandiose as they come. Harmonized. Sometimes it's hard to tell where like the riff ends and the leads begin. It kind of all blends together. Some of the more interesting tracks here, like Across the Never When and Side Reel Spire, they'll fall into like kind of a clean acoustic bed in the middle, kind of reminds me of Opus a little bit. And as the lead kind of flourishes. The bass tone comes through rich and warm during the slower segments. And the cut that really just keeps kicking my ass is the one I'm going to play for you, Seekers of the Ineffable. It kicks off with this crazy shred solo. You got to hear it. This is addictive stuff. And even if you missed the whole Gothenburg scene eruption in the mid-90s, it won't take you long to get into this. Even the artwork kind of looks like In Flames, the Gesture Race style. So it's not a tribute, but it is inspired by it, I would say. So let's classify this one as another win for the awesome $20 spin label. So here is a song, Seekers of the Ineffable. Okay, Sounds of Decay 3 is Demon Stealer. The Propaganda Machine is the new album. It is hard not to be impressed with Mumbai-based Sahil Makhija. I'm getting that wrong. AKA the Demon Stealer. For a man of only 40 years, he spent 25 of them cranking out his signature form of symphonic death metal in Demon Stealer, not to mention 23 years and 5 full albums with its other band, Demonic Resurrection. Plus, he has half a dozen on-again, off-again projects. He's got a page of guest appearances. He runs his own label, and he has an online cooking show called Headbanger's Kitchen. I don't think the man ever sleeps.
At any rate, his latest dose of hyperactive extreme metal, The Propaganda Machine, is a 43-minute of blast-heavy drumming, symphonic overlays, Glenn Benton-informed growls, and neoclassical shred solos. Thrashy riffs are adorned with exceptionally well-written lyric focused on media propaganda, tyranny, and manipulation. He even throws in some clean singing here every now and then, if the mood strikes. This album is overflowing with aggression, spread across 8 tracks that dwell mostly in the trim 4 to 5 minute range. The art of disinformation roars to life at ludicrous speed. We're back to ludicrous speed again. before lurching sideways into practically a catchy chorus and one of the disc's best sweeping guitar solos. His vocal style and choruses of tracks like Crushing the Iron Fist is a sort of drone poetry exercise backed by raging blast beats and majestic shredding with just the right amount of pump delivered by the synths.
It's really unusual sound. Yeah.
So the next time you find yourself bitching about all the errands you have to run, think about the Demon Stealer, India's busiest metal merchant. Perspective, people.
Exactly. All right, let's play a song, Crushing the Iron Fist. Season 3 has arrived. We talked about game shows.
We talked about bad exercise equipment
Yeah, we
that
did.
doesn't actually do anything.
We talked about the drive-in and how it sucked when I was a kid. Yeah.
We talked about game shows.
We talked about our impending AI doom.
We
Yeah.
talked about really weird stuff in that crazy courtyard.
Hey, Cyclops, you want some ketchup? This has been the Snaggletooth Decay Extreme Music Podcast. Special thanks to James McBain from Hell Ripper for appearing on the show. Snaggletooth theme courtesy of Gustaf Jorde from Defleshed. Sounds of Decay theme courtesy of Steve Rathbone from Lair of the Minotaur. Badass Season 3 artwork by none other than KC Angel. Get over to his Instagram and check him out. Decay bands, Majesties, Nightmarer, Demon Stealer. Go over Bandcamp and check them out, and check out Spectre. You will not be disappointed. All content 2023, the Snaggletooth Decay Extreme Music Podcast.
Should we give away all our DVDs?
Oh my gosh.
This is the Snaggletooth Extreme Metal Podcast.